What happens when a woman talks too much? And even the gods grow tired of her voice. Sit tight as we take you on this unforgettable journey. And please, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. In the heart of Mbano village, where the sun rises with pride and the moon listens like a wise elder, lived a young woman named Uli. Uli was tall, radiant, and strikingly beautiful. Her skin glowed like ripe palm fruit. Her hips swayed like the village drummer's rhythm, and every man who passed her would pause, then look again. But Uli had one dangerous gift, her mouth. It was like a parrot's wing, always flapping, always talking. Whether you asked her or not, she had something to say. Whether it concerned her or not, she must involve herself. From cockcrow to dusk, Uli gossiped. She would wake early, not to fetch water, not to sweep her compound, no. She would tighten her wrapper, slap her head tie into place, and tiptoe from one neighbour's door to another. Mama Ejiki, are you awake? Did you hear what happened last night? I saw Onyeka sneaking into the widow's hut. With his wrapper half open. She never greeted elders properly. If they asked her to help sweep or run errands, she hissed and muttered, "Old people with no work again." Villagers began whispering, "She's beautiful," they said, "but that mouth will destroy her." Then came Chima, a young palm wine tapper from the neighbouring village, strong, kind-hearted, captivated by Uli's beauty. When he brought his people to ask for her hand in marriage, Uli's own relatives pulled him aside. "Chima," her uncle whispered, "we beg you, beauty is not everything. Uli's tongue is like a sharp machete. She will disgrace you." But love had blinded the young man. "I'm not marrying her mouth," he said with a grin. "I'm marrying her heart." The villagers shook their heads. "We've seen many things, but this one, he will see Pepper." After the traditional wedding, Chima moved her into his compound. At first, everything seemed fine, but Uli didn't change. She quarrelled with his neighbours, insulted her mother-in-law, and spread gossip about every household near theirs. One day, Chima stood in the middle of their compound, his fists clenched. With pain in his eyes, he said, "My wife, your mouth will bring us shame. You speak without filter. You poke your nose into what you don't understand. How will you train a child when you insult elders like children?" Uli rolled her eyes and hissed, "So you want me to be blind and dumb? Is that love? Am I your slave?" The village road was quiet that hot afternoon. The sun burned lazily through the palm trees and goats bleated in the distance. Uli, balancing a basket full of garden eggs and dry fish on her head, adjusted her wrapper and clicked her tongue. She had just left the market and was humming a gossip tune when she saw the old man ahead. He looked tired bones, wrapped in thin skin, his wrapper dusty, leaning heavily on a crooked walking stick. On his head sat a tattered sack, swaying with every struggling step. As Uli drew closer, the old man turned and raised his hand weakly. "My child," he croaked, "you are heading my way. Please help me carry this. My back is not as it used to be." Uli's eyes widened with irritation. She stopped, dropped her basket to her hip, and frowned. "You call me your child? Is your daughter this fine? Did I look like a carrier of curses? You're old and miserable because of your bad life. Now you want to drag me into it." The old man winced in confusion. "I only asked for help, child." Before he could finish, Uli shoved him hard on the shoulder. "Will you get out of my way, old troublemaker? Even your ancestors rejected you." The old man fell slowly, painfully like a tree that had lost its roots. His stick rolled into the bush, and his sack burst open with old palm kernels spilling everywhere. He spoke quietly, but his voice shook the wind. "My daughter, why did you push an elder like me? Only because I asked for help. You speak with poison, you walk with pride, your tongue is longer than your patience." Uli waved her hand wildly and hissed, "A beg, shift, shift, I reject it. Don't call me your daughter, I'm not your child. Tufiakwa, you came to spoil my day." She turned and stomped off, wrapper bouncing. But the old man slowly stood up, unaided. "Since you reject wisdom, you will birth a shame that will talk louder than you." Ali froze. "Since you mocked my age, your child shall carry ears bigger than mine. Since you pushed me, the world will push you away." Uli screamed, clutching her stomach. "I reject it! I reject it! Holy Ghost fire!" The man smiled. "Reject all you want. A parrot does not stop talking, even when the sky is falling." And just like that, he vanished. Only the palm kernels and stick remained behind. Dud months passed. Uli became pregnant. But she didn't change. Even with her big belly, she gossiped in the village square. "Ain, did you hear? Mama Ngozi's daughter got pregnant for a man with one leg. Imagine." Her husband pleaded again. "Please, Uli, for the sake of our child, respect people. Stop talking without control. One day, this your tongue will burn you." Uli hissed, lifted her chin, and said proudly, "Let me burn as long as I shine." 9 months later, the cries from the labor room shook the walls. Sweat poured down Uli's face as she lay on the mat, legs trembling, hands clawing at the ground. The old women surrounded her, whispering prayers and chants. "Push, Uli, push," the midwife cried. With one final scream, the baby came. But then, silence. The baby did not cry, not immediately. The women looked at each other. Then the baby gasped and let out a loud, high-pitched squawk, like a parrot. The midwife unwrapped the cloth and dropped it. The child had a huge, curved mouth, like a parrot's beak, lips stretched wide and sharp. Its ears dangled long, oversized, almost reaching its shoulders, twitching like they could pick the whispers of the dead. One woman fainted. Another dropped the oil lamp. Chima rushed in. "What happened? Is my baby okay?" The midwife turned with tears in her eyes. She whispered, "Come and see." Chima's knees buckled. He staggered backward. "Jesus! Chineke! No!" Uli, still panting, tried to sit up. She saw the baby and screamed, "No, no, no, no! That's not mine! That's not my baby! I reject it!" She turned her face and wept. But the baby squawked again, its strange mouth opening and closing rapidly like it wanted to speak. Chima looked at her with shattered eyes. "Is this what your mouth brought upon us?" 20 words spread through Mbano like fire on dry grass. "Holy born parrot pekin!" Mouth like whistle, ear like calabash. Neighbors gathered behind fences, whispering and pointing. Women shook their heads. Old men refused to bless the child. Even children began mocking, flapping their arms and squawking when they saw her pass. Chima changed. His laughter died. He stopped talking in the evenings. One night he said, "My wife, if your mouth can do this, then your silence may save us." Uli tried to smile, but even when she kept quiet, villagers mocked. When she spoke, they laughed. The curse had come full circle. Uli stopped coming out. She wrapped the baby's ears and mouth with cloth, but even inside, the baby would squawk all day. At night, she would rock it and whisper, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't know." At times, she would shout alone, "Why didn't you warn me harder? Why didn't someone stop me?" By the time Ngozi turned 7, the village no longer called her by name. They called her Taboo, the talking curse, the parrot mouth. She had done nothing wrong, but her face carried shame. Her mouth still curved like a sharp bird's beak. Her ears dangled like plantain leaves, and her voice could slice through silence like thunder. Whenever she stepped outside, even to fetch firewood or stand by the doorstep, children screamed and ran, knocking over basins and slippers. Some would peep through Uli's cracked windows just to catch a glimpse. "See her mouth!" Her ear day touch ground. "If she talks about you, madness go hold you." Chima, once a proud man, now walked with slumped shoulders and tight lips. He barely spoke at the village square. He no longer laughed during moonlight stories. He began to avoid festivals, afraid someone would point at him and say, "That's the man whose child talks like a spirit." And at home, his patience began to crack. One morning, Ngozi accidentally broke a small calabash while playing with pebbles. The sound echoed. Chima rushed out. "Toon slap!" He didn't even speak. He slapped her with the back of his hand, and she fell hard on her side, her ears flopping over her eyes. Uli rushed out and screamed, "Chima, she's your daughter!" He turned, eyes full of pain and anger. "She's a curse! I told you your mouth brought this into my house. You should have stayed quiet that day. You should have helped that man." "She's still our child," Uli shouted back, hugging Ngozi tightly, rocking her like a baby. "I will protect her even if the whole world spits." Chima pointed at her. "One day, I'll wake up and not find either of you. Then maybe peace will return to my life." Then he stormed out, slamming the wooden door so hard that one of Ngozi's ears shook in the breeze. From that day, Ngozi stopped laughing. She would sit by the window, watching other children run and play. She tried going outside again. One afternoon, she stepped barefoot into the compound, hoping to see the sun, just to feel normal. But children saw her. "Taboo! Cover your ears! Run!" They threw sand at her and ran. 81 boys shouted, "If she says your name, you will die." She stood frozen, her eyes filled with tears. Her parrot mouth trembled but made no sound. Her long ears drooped even lower, dragging across the dust. She turned and slowly walked back inside. Ili met her at the door. "My child," she whispered, brushing her dusty cheek. "You are not a curse. You are my gift. You are—" But Ngozi turned to her and said quietly, "Mama, I want to go where nobody sees me." "No, my child. If the world rejects you, I will hold you twice. You're not leaving me. I will never leave you." Ngozi rested her head on her mother's shoulder and whispered, "Then hide me, Mama, hide me forever.